Imagine that you wake up in the morning and you get this breaking news that Russia has penetrated deep inside Eastern Europe. Its warships and tanks are bombing European cities, while Navy ships stationed in the Arctic and Black Sea are firing missiles continuously. Everyone thought that Ukraine will be the end, but what if it was just the beginning? The Russian army, breaking NATO, has reached the borders of Western Europe. This is not a fake story, but this is the exact plan on which Vladimir Putin has been working for many years. Ukraine was only the first step. The real question is, what is Russia's actual strategy, and what will Russia do after Ukraine? Who is Putin's next target? April 2025 has arrived. The Ukraine war has completed 4 years, and there is still no sign of its end. According to some reports, Putin wants to drag this war till 2026 to finish Ukraine's government and remove only Western influence from it. Russia has so far conditionally rejected all ceasefire offers from America. The reason is that Putin sees Ukraine as a protective barrier between Russia and NATO. He believes that if Ukraine joins NATO, it will become a very big threat for Russia. That is why Putin wants to prolong this war so that he can politically, militarily, and financially exhaust Ukraine and NATO. Explain this. How will Putin achieve such a big plan, and which country could be his next target? In today's video, we try to understand Putin's secret geopolitical strategy and try to find out what secret moves Russia is planning right now. After Ukraine, Russia's very first target could be Moldova. It is a small country located southwest of Ukraine. Moldova is strategically very important because it borders Romania, which is a NATO country. This way, Russia can enter deep into Eastern Europe from here. Moldova is politically weak, divided, and has an undefeated area called Transnistria, where Russian troops have been present since 1990. Russia can easily use these troops to capture Moldova and cut all Western supply routes going to Ukraine. If Moldova is captured, Ukraine will be surrounded from 3 sides, and NATO's position in this region will become very weak. Similarly, on the northern side, there are small NATO countries like Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, which share direct borders with Russia and could be Russia's next targets. These Baltic countries joined NATO in 2004 to protect themselves from Russia, but their small size, proximity to Russia, and weak armies put them at great risk. Especially Estonia and Latvia are in more danger because a significant number of Russian people live there. About 25% of the population speaks Russian, and they have cultural relations with Russia. Putin could use the excuse of protecting these Russian-speaking populations to take military action, just like he did in Ukraine. If Russia attacks any of these countries, it will test NATO's most important rule, Article 5, which states that an attack on one NATO country is considered an attack on all member countries. But this time, NATO's response is not guaranteed because NATO countries are very divided, especially after Donald Trump criticized NATO and European countries. If NATO does not respond timely, its credibility will be lost, and NATO countries will lose trust in NATO. This would be the end of NATO as we know it, and for Putin, breaking NATO would be a huge geopolitical victory. After this, Putin's next target could be Georgia, a small but strategically very important country on which Russia had launched a small attack in 2008. As a result of that attack, Russia took control of 2 regions, Abkhazia and South Ossetia, which are still under Russian control. Georgia is trying hard to join NATO, but since it is not a NATO member yet, it is very vulnerable. But why is Georgia so important for Russia? Actually, Georgia is located at a place that serves as a gateway to Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Also, some major energy pipelines pass through Georgia, such as the Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline and the South Caucasus gas pipeline. These pipelines carry oil and gas from the Caspian Sea to Europe. Currently, these pipelines provide Europe with an alternative to Russian oil and gas, reducing Europe's dependence on Russia. If Russia captures Georgia completely, it can shut down these pipelines and cause an energy crisis in Europe. This would make Europe dependent on Russian oil and gas again. That is why capturing Georgia is more important for Russia than just gaining land. Putin wants to use energy supply as a weapon to weaken Europe economically. As Europe's economy weakens, internal conflicts within NATO will increase, making it harder for them to unite against Russia in the future. Moving away from Europe, Central Asia, especially Kazakhstan, is also very important for Russia's long-term plans. Kazakhstan is not only large in area, but also rich in natural resources like oil, gas, uranium, and rare earth minerals. Historically, Kazakhstan has been one of Russia's close friends, but recently it has been moving away from Russia and forming partnerships with other countries. For example, it has strengthened relations with China through the Belt and Road Initiative. One key project of this initiative is the Korgos Gateway, which connects China and Europe through Kazakhstan. China has invested billions of dollars in roads, railways, and pipelines in Kazakhstan, increasing its influence in the region and reducing Kazakhstan's dependence on Russia. Turkey is also building relations with Kazakhstan, especially through military deals and cultural ties. Kazakhstan has started buying modern weapons from Turkey, including powerful drones like the Bayraktar TB2. Meanwhile, American and European companies are also increasing their influence in Kazakhstan. American companies like Chevron and ExxonMobil have invested billions in Kazakhstan's large oil reserves in Tengiz and Kashagan. Because of this, Russian influence over Central Asia's energy resources is decreasing. Kazakhstan has also started joint military exercises with the US and NATO, showing it is securing its safety beyond just Russia. This situation is very concerning for Putin because Kazakhstan is no longer fully trustworthy. Russia may use diplomacy, economic pressure, or even military intervention to keep Kazakhstan under control. Controlling Kazakhstan's natural resources and trade routes is crucial for Russia to dominate world politics. Similarly, in the far north, another battlefield is emerging: the Arctic. Due to climate change, ice in the North Pole is melting rapidly, opening new sea routes. These new routes can change the world trade map and shorten sea travel. For example, a ship going from Japan to Western Europe currently takes a 13,000-mile journey through the Suez Canal. But after the Arctic ice melts, the same ship can use the Northern Sea route and Bering Strait, cutting the distance by 6,000 miles, saving time and shipping costs. Russia understands the importance of these new sea routes very well, which is why Putin is aggressively advancing his plans in the Arctic. Russia already controls half of the Arctic coastline and has built more than 50 military bases there. It also has over 40 icebreaker ships, while the US has only 2. Russia's power is not limited to icebreakers. It has deployed advanced radar systems, missile defense installations, and even nuclear submarines in the Arctic. Russia is also trying to exploit the natural resources under the Arctic seas. There are billions of barrels of oil, natural gas, and rare earth mineral reserves, which are very important for modern technology. In response to Russia's aggressive Arctic strategy, former President Donald Trump recently announced increasing US presence in the Arctic by ordering about 40 new icebreakers. However, the US faces a big challenge because it lags behind Russia in Arctic infrastructure and shipbuilding. Building icebreakers is difficult, expensive, and time-consuming. Even if the US starts immediately, it will take many years to match Russia's number of icebreakers. Putin wants control of the Arctic, not only for resources, but also to control global trade and shipping routes. If NATO weakens or breaks, no one will be able to stop Russia from taking full control of the Arctic, making Moscow a major global economic player in the future. Besides increasing military power, Russia is quietly working on plans to keep its economy strong in the coming years. One such plan focuses on lithium. Russia wants to mass-produce lithium by 2030, aiming to produce at least 60,000 metric tons of lithium carbonate annually. This plan is very important because lithium is crucial for electric vehicles, solar batteries, and green energy solutions, which the whole world will need more and more in the future. Currently, Russia has about 1 million tons of lithium reserves, mostly in Siberia and other remote areas. Putin wants to use these lithium reserves to reduce Russia's dependency on oil and gas exports, especially since Western countries have imposed many sanctions on these exports due to the Ukraine war. If Russia succeeds in this lithium project, no one can stop it from dominating the global electric car industry, and sanctions will have little effect. This is why Russia is taking bold steps. Their strategy is not random. Their real goal is to make Russia a world superpower again, like during the Soviet Union era. Putin has openly said that the breakup of the Soviet Union was the biggest geopolitical disaster of the 20th century, and since then, he has been trying to restore Russia's power. Putin has rapidly rebuilt the Russian army, increased the defense budget beyond Europe's, pressured Europe through energy supplies, and expanded Russia's diplomatic reach worldwide, especially to countries that dislike the current Western system, such as China and the global South. But Putin's real goal is even bigger. He wants a world where global power and economy are not controlled by a single country, especially not the US, but shared among several countries. To achieve this, Russia is building relations with countries like China and Iran and forming new alliances with those opposing Western control. Russia's biggest ally today is China, as both countries share the goal of ending US dominance. Russia sells oil and gas to China at very low rates. Their trade has crossed $200 billion, and China is Russia's biggest trading partner. A special feature of this partnership is that both countries trade in their own currencies instead of the US dollar to weaken the dollar. On the other hand, Russia's relations with Iran have also strengthened, especially visible in conflicts like Syria and Ukraine. Iran supplied drones and missiles to Russia, which were used in Ukraine, while Russia provided Iran with the latest military technology and helped it bypass Western sanctions. This alliance poses a threat to the US, Nato, and Israel. But Putin's strategy is not limited to China and Iran. He is also developing relations with countries tired of US and European control, such as India, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and South Africa, members of the BRICS alliance. BRICS countries represent about half the world's population and 30% of the global economy. This alliance is emerging as a powerful alternative to Western financial and political institutions. However, the most important question remains: will Putin succeed in all these plans? And will NATO be able to stop Russia's advance? NATO is currently facing its biggest challenge in history. This alliance, once very strong, is now clearly divided. Donald Trump's criticism of NATO has cast doubt on its future. Meanwhile, Europe is struggling to counter Russia's rapidly growing military power. If NATO does not stay united, Putin's plans could become reality sooner than expected. Today, the world stands at a turning point. The decisions made in the coming years will affect global geopolitics for centuries. Will Europe remain united or break under pressure? Will Russia succeed in creating a new world order? The answers to these questions will determine the future of the world. If you liked this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel for more such videos. See you in the next video with another interesting topic. Take care. Allah Hafiz.